EQIFI is a digital platform that merges traditional banking with decentralized finance. And with me is the CEO, Brad Yasar, to talk about what EQIFI is doing, digital and banking and decentralized finance, and just kind of the whole thing. So let's just start. Brad, give me a definition. We're hearing decentralized and decentralized finance a lot lately. Would you define that?
Hi, Jane. Thank you for having me. DeFi is actually not a complex concept. It's decentralized finance, meaning a lot of the middlemen that exist today as the gatekeepers and the validators of all these products and services that are delivered in finance are replaced by a programmatic approach, by computer code. So instead of your banker being in the middle of a loan, because obviously banks gather funds and then they loan them out, and that's how they make money. Now, this requires a trusted entity in the middle, which is your bank. With decentralized finance, what has happened is instead of having a trusted authority in the middle, people said, what if we programmed it to act a certain way? So both parties know the outcome of the transaction. I know that if I loan you $5, that you're going to pay those $5 in 5 days, $1 a day. And then we don't really need a trusted central party. We don't need a bank because the program is going to run whether you like it, I like it or not. Mm-hmm. It's going to automatically access the funds. The payments are going to be made. I'm going to receive my loan. You're going to receive your repayments, or you lose your collateral in some instances. So there has been a move towards what can we do peer-to-peer, what can we do company-to-company, business-to-business, without having these really complex systems where there's sometimes multiple middlemen. And it slows down the process. It makes it cumbersome and more expensive.
And more expensive, yeah. That's one of the best explanations I've heard of decentralized finance, actually. And you're doing this with the blockchain, right?
Yes, yes, we are.
So what are the challenges to decentralized finance at this moment?
Well, adoption and education, not in that order. It's education, then adoption, of course. But those are the two biggest challenges. If enough people knew about the options they have and were able to access it in a very simple, user-friendly fashion, they would definitely consider at least exploring. Mm-hmm. But that hasn't happened in the general public's mind. And with EQIFI, that's our number one prerogative, to bring DeFi, to bring digital banking to those who are not technically savvy, who are not included in the current financial systems for whatever reason, and show them how easy it is to have a positive return on their savings as opposed to what's being offered by the traditional banks right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that is certainly a challenge because people just, especially when it comes to money, they're kind of like, I don't know if I want to try anything new. I want to stay with what I know. So I think, that's a formidable challenge, but I think, we'll get there at some point, especially as new generations come up and they're more technologically savvy and more willing to accept new things, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to be open to change to benefit from these incredible returns and life-changing products that currently do exist, but less than 10% of the population know about them. Yeah. And then even a smaller percentage actually venture out to use them.
Right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your long-term goals for EQIFI. Where do you see this company going?
Well, we started EQIFI about a year ago. We started building it, and our goal was always to change lives. We weren't in it for anything other than being able to provide something to people who didn't have access to it, whether it be banking or decentralized finance products that have high returns. So long term, we want to accomplish one thing, and that is to be the gateway into crypto and DeFi for the general masses. That's our goal. In order to accomplish that, of course, we need to have institutional support. We need to have a lot of retail users. We need to have corporate partners. And every step of the way, that's what we have in mind. How can we make life better for people? How can we help them earn a higher return on their savings, on their investments? And how can we make it so simple that they're not scared to use it?
Mm-hmm. So how does somebody get started? Is it an app? I mean, how do they even begin to use EQIFI?
EQIFI is a web app, so it's a website. You go to eqifi.com, and what happens is it prompts you to create an account. As with any other website, you create an account, and it's really simple to get going from there. We have our own token called EQX, which unlocks more features and higher limits and better rates for you. But you don't even have to go into that at first. Just look at the products and ask questions, because I know people are going to have questions. We have a 24/7 customer service line. We have a Telegram chat. So if people come, create an account, look at the products, and they're curious, I highly encourage them to ask questions. Once your questions are answered, compare what you have right now. Do you have a savings account? Do you have a checking account? Do you invest in the stock market? Do you invest in the bond markets? I don't know. Just look at what's in your portfolio and what we offer. You're going to see incredible difference between the two. And if you don't have any of it, start with a small crypto investment, because unlike stocks, you can buy fractions of crypto assets. Right. I correct people all the time when they say, I really want to buy Bitcoin, but it's too expensive. I can't afford one.
I do too, yeah.
You can buy $10 worth of Bitcoin today. You don't have to be extremely wealthy or allocate $65,000 to own one. You can buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin goes up, your $10 are going to increase, regardless of what fraction of that one Bitcoin you had. Same thing with EQX, same thing with Ethereum. So go on the platform, create an account, take some action. That's the first step.
Well, and the fact that you have 24/7 customer service is, I think, really important, because people, they have questions and they don't know. And how does this work? And I had a friend who thought Bitcoin was a stock, BTC was a stock, and so it's just like, people are trying to learn, and it's a little scary. But if you have somebody that can walk them through it, I think that's really a key thing. So you talked a little bit about the products. Can you go into a little more detail how they're different than traditional banking products?
Absolutely. So we have 4 DeFi products. One is a fixed rate borrowing lending. I say borrowing lending because as the user, you can both borrow and lend. When you go to your bank doesn't allow you to lend and make money with it. They say you can open a checking account, you can open a savings account, here are the rates. Here, we actually allow you to set the rate you want to lend money out and deposit funds just for that purpose. So the difference is you're in control. We're not, we're not touching your funds. You own your funds, you go in, you select the rate, and if there's someone who wants to borrow, they borrow, and then now you're earning passive income. So that's the fixed rate borrowing lending. Then we have a variable rate borrowing lending. That's for more adventurous people who see the market going up or going down and they want to benefit from it. And it works the same way. You go in, you see the market rate, you decide how much you want to lend or borrow, and you use the product. No middleman, we have no control over it. We don't deny loans. We don't discourage you to apply. It's on the platform. It's self-serve. You go in, and as long as you complete the necessary steps to be onboarded, it's available to you. Our third product is an interest rate swap. And this is really interesting because interest rate swap in the traditional markets are not a retail product. Yeah. You can't do an interest rate swap for your car loan or even house loan because they look for a lot more zeros in the loan for those type of activities. Just because when you have someone doing the swap, it takes a lot of energy and it costs a lot. On our platform, it's automated. So if you took out a fixed loan and you want to convert to a variable rate because you see the market going in the right direction for your loan, you can use our interest rate swap and swap to a variable rate loan, and vice versa. If you are in a variable rate loan and you see that there are some market movements coming that are going to affect your payment, you can swap to a fixed rate. So that's very novel. And even in the DeFi crypto sphere, we're one of the first people to do it. Our next product is a yield aggregator, which is a technical, complex way of saying we go out there, we look at the best yield products in the DeFi space in Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain right now, more to be added soon. And we find the best yield returning pools, investment opportunities, tokens for you. And we created these low risk, medium risk, and high risk pools right now. And we allow you to benefit from that yield. So you go in, you simply deposit one of the assets that we accept for the yield product, and you don't have to do any research. You don't have to worry about, is this a scam? Is this real? Is this a good return? We do all that for you. We do the due diligence, we do the research, and we make sure that we only go into projects that have longevity. So that simplifies and probably saves you 2-3 hours a day, even if you were an expert in liquidity pools and yield products and you were doing it manually. Our programmatic approach is much faster. And finally, we have a simple staking product, which is for the people who want to hold our token, either because they're heavy users of the platform and they like the discounts and the access, or they believe in the project and they want to bet on our future. You stake your EQX tokens and we pay you a yield, again, a simple interest on it. And as long as it's staked, you're earning that. And I think these are simplified to a point where anyone who uses a digital banking product or a mobile app can use them.
Yeah, that is really interesting. The loan and interest, I mean, that's truly the peer-to-peer stuff. Yes. That, that's really interesting. And you're right. I don't think I've talked to anybody who offers something like that. So that's very unique. And then finally, I saw that there was a MasterCard that you're working with. And I know one of the things against crypto is like, it doesn't have a lot of applications, but this would be a way you could actually pay with crypto with a MasterCard, right? Explain that program to me.
Well, so when we decided to bridge the gap between digital banking and DeFi. On the DeFi side, the biggest problem we wanted to address was access to value created. I know a lot of people who created incredible value in the DeFi space, and unfortunately in their daily lives, they can't even go and buy a new car because it's disconnected. There's this wealth in DeFi, and then you look at their banks, there's no connection. They can't even afford it. So we thought that wasn't fair to DeFi entrepreneurs, investors, users, and we wanted to create this connection. What good is, earning 17, 20% APY on our yield product or staking if you can't use that, right? I mean, it stays there. So we wanted to connect the DeFi products and crypto more to everyday purchases. And what better way to do that than a card? So we have this card that's connected to your crypto balances on the platform. And you don't have to necessarily worry about how do I convert my Ethereum to British pounds or euros or US dollars. What it allows you to do is you designate an asset to draw from, and you can use that card to spend. And use the value you created. One next step, and what's more exciting is if you are in a yield product that you're earning some returns, being able to access that directly with the card and not have to divest from that allows you to still earn money while spending it, if that makes sense. So we're trying to connect as closely as possible all the products on the DeFi side with traditional banking and create this really simple to use platform.
Very interesting. And you kind of start to get a sense of how banking is changing, with some of these new products. So thank you so much, Brad. Very interesting, CEO of EQIFI, and look forward to catching up again in the future.
Thank you for having me, Jane.
Thanks.